All right, so Mardi Gras season is upon us again. Wanted to make a quick video about tips for if you're working Mardi Gras this year, if you're planning on working it in the future, just information you should know if you're coming down to New Orleans to make your life easier, better, help you make more money, etc. Okay, I'm gonna be all over the place and this video ain't gonna be cute. I'm just gonna try to make it useful. Let's get into it. First things first, it is not just going to be busy at the club. It's not just more customers, it's not just more people on the street. It's also a lot more dancers. So if you're planning to come, realize you're not the only one, that people are gonna be coming in from all over the country, that the top-notch dancers in that city are gonna be out and about, and that you should expect to move quickly through a room, that there's going to be a ton of competition, and that everyone's gonna be showing up on their A game, so do the same. Don't just assume because you show up you're gonna make money. I feel like people do this with any kind of event, not just Mardi Gras. It's like Super Bowls, New Year's, Sugar Bowls, whatever. There's always, I think, this expectation that just because you show up, you're going to cash out, and that is just not true. It's the busier it gets, the more people are coming up to make that money. So what I think that means is if you're planning on coming out for big events, you should be as prepared as possible, and that's mostly what this video is going to be about, right? Like how to prepare for a big event. I'm gonna make it specific to Mardi Gras, but a lot of these things you can apply to other work trips. Let's get into it. First thing first is going to be, Mardi Gras is not just one weekend, right? There is one weekend that's the big weekend, right? Like right before Fat Tuesday, but realize that parade season begins like early January in New Orleans. So if you want to get some practice rounds in, if you want to audition before it's like fully capped out and the management is super busy and focused on other things and the last priority they have is hiring, then maybe do yourself a favor if you know you're working Mardi Gras and come out a couple of weeks or even a month earlier, check out the city, see, where you want to stay for Mardi Gras, where you are going to be like picking up your meals from, what clubs you like, when it's a little calmer and people can hold your hand a little more through the auditions and getting set up process. Next thing you should know is that it's not just going to be like about the club. You also need to prepare for outside the club, meaning housing is going to be more expensive, food is going to be more expensive, and sometimes things like Uber Eats or straight up Ubers are just not available. So if you're going to be staying, make sure you understand the layout of the city, make sure you understand how far the club is from where you're staying, and just go online and Google parade routes. They're really easy to find and you can figure out like, hey, can I even get to work at this time if I'm staying at this location? Because don't put it past someone to put an Airbnb in a location where like, oh, this is great for someone going to see the parades, but for you as someone that needs to get to work, it might be like impossible to get there unless you walk, or you're literally having to cross through parade routes, which is a mess and you usually can't get away with. Another outside of the club thing, I know I'm gonna sound like a mom here, but please hear me out. Bring yourself an eye mask and make sure you invest in some good earbuds. I know, who cares? If you're close enough to the clubs to like be able to walk there, you are going to be hearing parades 100%, right? Like they're all over the city. They're so freaking loud. And I promise you, if you get home from the club at 6, 7 a.m., you are going to lose your mind when you start hearing all those parades. You start hearing the firefighters, you start hearing like all of the sirens in town going off at the same time, and you're just trying to sleep so you can go back into work. It's loud. It is not going to stop because you are tired, so make sure you invest in just those two things because it will like change your whole trajectory in the city. And I can tell you, after one day where you can't catch sleep, you're not going to be prepared to work a full late night shift. Let's talk about once you get into the club, okay? I'm gonna assume you're already hired, you've auditioned, you've got your Airbnb, you did your meal prep, you're set, right? When you get into the club, realize that you're going to be dealing with a very different layout than most club nights. For one, the club will probably be at capacity at least a couple of nights. That means most VIP rooms will be full. You might not be able to get like a half-hour room or something. So you need to be quick on your feet. If they're like, we can't run a card charge, be ready to take them to the ATM. If they say you can't do a room, be ready to figure out a way to make money on the floor. And these kinds of nights, being, uncomfortable approaching new people or moving quickly, or being uncomfortable shifting gears if something goes wrong, can mean like just spell out the end of your night, because once you get frustrated and you're over it, you're working long days and you just need to be able to have that patience and hit that reset button constantly, right? Not everyone in the room is going to have money. Not everyone is going to be quality. So you need to be able to run through quantity quickly and keep up your mood and your attitude, or, you're just going to be spending a bunch of time getting frustrated by college boys, which is not what you came here to do. On that same note, be prepared to deal with what I call zombies. These are people who are mentally somewhere else, but physically their body is still in the club, okay? On these late night shifts, on these Mardi Gras shifts, if I can help it whatsoever, I love coming in a little bit earlier because people are usually drinking like from the morning. So when you're talking about midnight, 1, 2 a.m., like these guys are gone. They're mentally not even here. And that can mean they can't run transactions. It means they agree to things they can't actually afford. It means that they might not understand or respect boundaries the same way they might if they were like even 1% mentally there. And so these are just situations you have to be prepared for and just ready to be, again, on your feet and to, you know, use support staff at your club to help you. Like, I feel like this is the time of the year when I'm really like waving around like, hey, someone's trying to film. Hey, someone's being inappropriate. Hey, this person needs to go, because there's just not a lot of, you know, self-control in people who are in zombie mode. And so just prepare for that, be aware of it. It's not the end of the world, but it is something to look out for so you can, you know, make your next move quickly and efficiently. So on the flip side of the zombie thing, as entertainers, right, we're gonna be there for longer hours than customers are, and we have very different goals. So I'm not gonna tell you not to drink or party or have fun. You're an adult, you make your own decisions. What I will say is that it is a marathon, right? So pacing is everything. Like if on night 1 you are going hard, you know that the next day you're gonna be hungover, exhausted, you're probably not gonna be at your best. And because it's gonna be competitive and a lot of people will be there, it, you know, I feel like those decisions get maybe penalized a little bit harder in that kind of crowded environment where it's like, okay, yeah, maybe I can work with like a bad hangover on like a slow Tuesday on a day where everyone is gonna be like at their best outfits, best attitude, ready to go. I'm probably not gonna be able to compete at the same level. So just be thoughtful of how much you are taking in, right? Of what your like money goals are for the entire period that you're gonna be working, and you know what decisions you're taking that get you closer or farther away from that. On that note, also make sure you bring an extra outfit. I know, another mom thing, but I promise you there's nothing more frustrating than like, oh, a guy spilled a drink on me. And so now this 8-hour shift I was gonna work has to be a 2-hour shift because I can't get back to my Airbnb. I didn't bring an extra outfit and there is no laundry machine at my club, right? So let's avoid that. Let's just show up like, you know, scouts, be prepared, be ready, and bring a change of clothes just in case. The last thing I want to include here, I know I said it at the top of the video, but I just think it's so important to reiterate that just because you show up does not guarantee money. It's chaotic, it's full, there is potential, and there's certainly more potential than like if no one was in town, right? I don't want to discourage you from working events or traveling for events, but definitely want to set the expectation that you showing up does not equate to you're gonna have the best night of your life just because you are in the building. You still need to be prepared, you still need to come correct, and there is going to be opportunity, so you know, enjoy it, have fun. It's definitely an event, it's definitely something to see, but understand that in this context we're there to work and to make money, and that those things are not automatic no matter how many people are in the room. Yeah, I hope you guys make tons of money. Have a great, safe, and happy Mardi Gras. And if I know I missed tips, please go ahead and drop them in the comments so everyone else can use them as well.